Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Miguel.
And this is Michelle.
And again, we have another review of looking at and critiquing and talking about an interpretation of a mythological supernatural being. So this time, we will look at Michelle's interpretation of Izanami and Izanagi.
Izanami and Izanagi were the Japanese deities associated with the Japanese creation myth. And so they're basically part of the story of how the Japanese islands were made. Supposedly, they were standing on the heavenly clouds and they were given a jeweled spear to kind of swirl around the oceans. And that just caused enough little ants to pop up. So yeah, they were the reason why we have the Japanese islands. Usually, Izanami, Izanagi, or in general, gods and goddesses, they tend to be siblings. In this case, what I wanted to do with my design is to kind of go for more of a friendlier, childlike design of Izanami and Izanagi. So something a bit more like family friendly.
Yeah, like cute little Studio Ghibli,
I have Izanami holding the little net, and Izanagi is like the one stirring something. I wanted them to be kind of cute, be friendly for children.
So that's pretty much the story, right?
Yep, and they also have other myths and legends where I think Izanami was in the underworld of some sort, and Izanagi really wanted to get his wife back, so he traveled into the underworld, and unfortunately Izanami ate the fruit of the underworld, so she couldn't really leave. Do you remember the rest of that story?
I just know that there were other beings. It's kind of interesting because there are parallels to other mythologies like Persephone and also the succubus, because, well, the Lilith and the succubus, because Izanami gave birth to other little Izanami beings called like the Yomi daughters or the Yomi sisters. So it's kind of like she semi-cloned herself, and that's also another birth of another supernatural being in the underworld. So there are these other beings that gave birth as a result of Izanami being in the underworld. And also, this is one of the most popular myths as well. If you play a lot of video games or just consume media of Japanese mythology, it's often the creation myth and also the story of Izanami going into the underworld. So those two are very popular, and then you would often see those. And it's interesting because, well, now as an artist, we can at least visually interpret these stories, and I think was like the missing component, because it's one thing to just like take a story and then what do you do with it, right? Well, that's where art comes in, because that's what makes it kind of unique, like your own unique take on this mythology like we have here.
So what do you think of my version of Izanami and Izanagi?
It's very cute. It immediately gives me Studio Ghibli vibes, the way you drew the faces. So it's very kid-friendly, cute, and I love the contrast in the clothing. That's interesting that Izanagi has a dark color and Izanami has something pinkish. Actually, this is very common. Me as a gaming nerd, I have to bring this up. So the gaming series Shin Megami Tensei, that game's interpretation of Izanami and Izanagi is always dark and light pink. So if you look at Izanami's design, she's very white and very pinkish, and then Izanagi is just this dark, broody, edgy edgelord. It just so happens that you did the same thing here, which is interesting, so that's cool.
I was going with society's dictation of boys are always associated with the blue color,
pink and blue.
Pink with girls, and I really wanted to also delve into like Japanese traditional clothing, like but for kids, and it's like super cute. They're all like so cute and like little, and wanted to play around with that. Kind of like almost like a more modern take on Izanami Izanagi. I don't really recall trying to look into like the old traditional Japanese clothing, but that's okay.
Close enough. Let us know what you think. Do you think this is cute, weird, cuddly, funny, whatever you want to say? Just keep it kid friendly, like this drawing. So we'll see you on the next interpretation.
Alright, see ya. Bye.